Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Painless Universal, a conversation with myself and Welsh. Today I'll be talking to Sierra Bogges about her blog post where she talks about you are more than enough. As a Broadway actress, one of the questions that goes through to all of their minds is that are they enough? Are they worth it? When they get the roles and when they don't get the roles, they keep questioning themselves. But she talks candidly about this, about what you should always know: you are more than enough and you deserve everything you get. You deserve every good thing that comes your way. She is a known American theater actress and singer. She's best known for originating the role of Ariel in The Little Mermaid on Broadway, and for her multiple appearances as Christine in The Phantom of the Opera. She's known to many fans for playing Christine during the Phantom of the Opera 25th anniversary performance at the Royal Albert Hall. I'm super excited to talk to Sierra. We're also going to talk about the pandemic and its effects on people in actress, people in Broadway theatre, people who perform at the West End. How has this pandemic affected them, and how have they managed to find their joy and her hopes for the future? Meet Sierra Bogges. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Painless Universal, conversation with myself and Welsh. I have the amazing Sierra here, Bogges. She is an amazing Broadway singer, and she's been doing this for a very long time. I've said it all in my intro, so I won't be saying much. Meet Sierra. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm so happy to be here. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm really, really delighted to have you because I know normally in normal circumstances, you guys would be extremely busy. You will have no time at all to sit down and do this. But, it's really an honor to have you sit down with me and share your beautiful story. Whereabouts are you joining me from?
I'm in New York City right now.
Oh,
Woo!
wow. Okay. Before we get into all of that, how is New York? How is New York doing?
It's good. What I love about New York is New Yorkers are resilient and scrappy. We figure it out. So everybody seems to be on this collective like, okay, we've got to take care of each other. We wear masks on the subway. We're used to being around a lot of people. So I think that we are used to, or my experience has certainly been, we are used to caring about how other people are
Yeah.
feeling or afraid. If someone sneezes, you clear a room.
Yeah.
So it feels like we're taking care of each other.
That's good though. That's good. I think the same thing out here. But although our lockdown is very stringent, we're very tight with lockdown, but it's beginning to ease much more. So we're
Okay,
hoping
good.
everything goes down a little bit, and the virus pandemic is getting better. But we're still in our little own bubble at home, keeping safe. So that's where we are with things in London here.
Yeah.
Sierra, I admire your work. You sing so beautifully. Before I even started researching you, I've seen you sing, and unreal, unreal. Can you tell us about your childhood? Where did you get this beautiful voice from?
Thank you. Actually, when I was little, I grew up in Denver, Colorado, which is all nature all the time. It's a state just full of beautiful mountains, and so I grew up just outside and in nature all the time. But I grew up actually as an ice skater, and that's what I wanted to do. I'm the middle of two sisters. My older sister was also an ice skater, but all three of us were always singing, playing music together. I played flute. My older sister plays cello. My little sister plays piano and oboe. So we were always just these three musical sisters. And so music was just always a part of my life, but I didn't ever think it was what I was going to do for a living.
Wow.
I loved to ice skate. That's what I wanted to do.
Hmm.
But I had to stop ice skating because it's a really expensive sport. And just from that, I sort of fell into acting because when you're competing, you realize that you're not actually afraid of being in front of people, I guess.
Hmm.
And so I loved that part of it, of the performing aspect of it too. So then um, going into acting class and then and I sang in a choir I never thought, and I never thought that I had anything special or unique about my voice. And I think actually anyone that I talk to that's a much higher level than I am, they sort of have a similar feeling too. That's like other people start telling you that you have this beautiful instrument. But I just loved singing, and I love the feeling of telling a story through song. So it's not, I hated all the technical stuff. I always say I can't tell somebody how to sing because I have no idea. I never liked learning any of the, this is your diaphragm, here's your lungs, like any of that stuff that you have to know. So I just loved how it felt and telling a story through song.
That is, wow. And did your parents support that in any way when you when you decided to go into the actress? When did you move on from being an actress to actually Broadway singing? And did your parents support you in that doing that?
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I have incredibly supportive parents. That they knew that I wanted to do this, and it just I'm sure for them, I know for me it felt like, well, there is nothing else she would do. You know, it wasn't. I wasn't a kid who's like she could be a doctor. She's super book smart, because I wasn't.
Yeah.
And I'm not. But my older sister went on to playing cello, and she's a cellist for Broadway shows. So she plays in the pit orchestra.
Yeah.
So we both went into music, and my little sister is a music teacher.
Oh, wow.
So we all, we all went into music. So our parents are going to have to be supportive of that. And they're the ones who also gave us the lessons, music lessons and stuff. So yes, they were supportive. But I went to college for musical theater. I got a degree, which made my father happy. He wanted me to have a degree.
And that's the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that was important to him because he's a business mind, and it's like, have a degree, and I get it now. Then I was like, I just want to go, but I understand. And so then I moved to New York, and it happened.
Tell me about your first audition, because it's never easy doing an audition. I mean, there's just so much doubt. And one of the things I like about you, on your page, you talk about something about you are enough. You are really enough. It's unbelievable how enough you are. But your first audition, you didn't feel you were enough. You didn't even know what you could bring to the table. Tell me about your first audition and how that went.
My first audition in New York, because I was coming out of school, we mock auditioned all the time. So I was prepared in the sense that it's something that I had been doing and doing and doing. But then it is a different level once you realize you're doing this because you need to make money in order to eat and pay your rent. That's a thing you don't feel when you're in school. So it is a different level. And I felt my first audition, I was terrified because you have this imposter syndrome of who am I to be here? But also you have this thing that's like, who are you not to be here? And you've been practicing for this for your whole life. So it's this mix of things. But at the end of the day, you just are brave and you do it. You just have to do it. It's like with anything where you just have to take the jump. And that's what I did. So I also think, and that when I was younger, I was much more fearless because I didn't know what was at stake like I know now.
Yeah. I agree. I think that's what I always say to people. If I want to do something new, I always go to my childlike behavior. I remember my child, and I say, I could do this when I was much younger. So why am I so scared now? And I just have to let go of all that thing that is saying to me that you can't do it, you're not good enough, you're not worth it. And that child that would just go into the room and just ask that question, I become that person and become that. And that gives me the confidence again. You are so successful with what you've done. Can you tell me about one of the biggest Broadway that really took your mind back when you got that audition, when you auditioned for that part and you got it?
Well, that would probably be making my Broadway debut in The Little Mermaid. That that was pretty major because for me that was a really spiritual experience actually because I had done an audition for that show and I never heard anything back. So I had no call back, and all these other friends of mine were having callbacks, and I heard nothing for months. And then all of a sudden I got a call saying, can she come in for the final callback for Ariel? And I thought they had made a mistake because I thought final callback, I haven't even done one, and it's been months. It turned out that I found this out much later. It turned out that I was doing a show in Las Vegas at the time. I was doing Phantom of the Opera in Las Vegas at the Venetian Hotel. And the music supervisor was friends with the director of The Little Mermaid on Broadway. And the director had called her and just talking to her and saying, we can't find our Ariel and we've seen everyone. And she said, unbeknownst to me, she said, you should see Sierra Bogges. She said, I think we saw her. She said, see her again. And I didn't know this. And this is, so when I teach masterclass and I talk about, you never know. And so the job that you are doing at the time, it could be the thing that, so being a good person, being a person that people want to work with and want to recommend, that's as much as of your job as it is to be able to do it well, you know? So that was pretty major. And so I went in still not knowing this information. And that was a 5-hour callback, 5 hours. I was singing, I was dancing, I was roller skating like we did to make it look like we're underwater. It was the whole thing. And so getting that call you've done it. This is going to be your Broadway debut and you're going to play Ariel, you know, the Disney princess that you've loved your whole life. That, I don't think it gets bigger than that for me. And, but I hadn't even imagined really that it would be that and to that scale. So I think that's also what makes it so special when I reflect back.
You've done some work in London. I think you've come to London as well. So tell us some of the work you've done in London as well.
And I love London. London actually is a very magical place for me. And it's, you know, I'm born here, but something about London, I must have some past lives there because I just feel like it's a second home. It feels familiar. It's all this. So truly, one of the things, and it literally brought me to my knees when I got the call. I was walking in Central Park and I got the call that I had booked my first West End show, which was a show called Love Never Dies, the sequel to Phantom of the Opera. And I dropped to my knees in the grass in Central Park and just started weeping because London for me was even more magical than Broadway, and it still is. I would work in the West End in a heartbeat. I hate this not being able to get there is so difficult.
I know, it's so difficult. It's so really annoying. I think the pandemic is taking things from creativity, and people are questioning themselves because, you know, you've been doing this for a very long time and now you're not doing this. How has the pandemic affected your lifestyle?
It was hard at first because I was trying to stay present with what I want to do and what I want to put out there because I don't have my usual platform. And something I didn't feel like doing was singing. I didn't feel like singing, but I was doing everything else. I was still taking dance in my apartment. I'm working out. I have my yoga mat. I was doing all the things, reading the books, doing puzzle, all the stuff, but I didn't want to sing. And as I reflected and as I talked to some of my friends who are also in this industry, and they were having similar feelings, and I sort of came up with, and I have no better answer than, when you are singing and it's all aligned and it's all on purpose, nothing feels better. Nothing is more released. Nothing is more free and connected. And I think part of me didn't want to feel that good. And then part of me was afraid that it wouldn't feel that good. And so once I started singing and singing for myself, I started filling up more and more and realizing that this is still such a huge part of me, and it's not just something I get now paid to do, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, exactly. Not just a paid job, but something that's now inbred in you.
Yeah.
And so let's go back to You Are Enough. Um, what made you realize that this is something you need to start advocating for? Because I've seen you've written a blog post about it, talking to many people who go into auditions and not feeling comfortable, not doubting themselves. Why did you realize? When did you realize that this was actually something you need to champion for, to help other people, other artists out there who are struggling about their own self-worth?
Absolutely. So, first of all, when I was 17 years old, I took a master class in Denver, Colorado. And one of the teachers there was a woman named Mary Satrakian. She's become one of my dearest friends. And she said in this master class, it was just this off the cuff thing that she said to the person that she was working with, trying to get them to sing without, you know, doing all these movements and stuff that were just unnecessary. And she said, "You are enough, you're so enough." She said, "It's incredible how enough you are." I thought it was the funniest thing I had ever heard. I was like, that I've never heard words put like that. So I write it down in my little yellow notebook, which I still have. And I'm writing, because I took tons of notes in all my masterclass. So I have this quote, and I thought it was so funny. Cut to years later, and I'm playing Ariel on Broadway, and I and I have that little yellow notebook with my notes from master classes since I was 16 years old, from all different people. And I would often open it and I would often read just something from it, words of wisdom from people. I love talking to people that are wiser than I am, and just like, you know,
It's
and
not,
so,
it's priceless.
yeah, it is.
It is.
It's like,
It is.
and just let me just sit and and so I have all these wise sayings and stuff, and I start receiving fan mail for the first time, which is a bizarre thing at 25 years old to receive fan mail. All of a sudden people know who I am, and it's weird, and it's all this stuff. And in these letters, I would receive people saying how much they love Ariel, of course, but then I would receive things from people going through some of the darkest things in their life, and they are talking to me as if I'm their therapist, and they need to talk to me as sort of Ariel and Sierra as Ariel. It's this weird thing, because suddenly you have this Disney princess that you can access. And I realized that Ariel, on a very deep level, represents the person who is born in the wrong body, the wrong time, the wrong place, all of these things. So that's why I'm getting such people that are afraid to come out, people who are transgender and afraid, people who are cutting themselves, people who are in eating disorders, all kinds of stuff. And they need to tell me these things. And it was then that I realized I have this other responsibility, not just my on stage, but my off stage, and I need to manage this somehow. And I want to write back to these people, but it's not my responsibility to be a therapist because I'm not a doctor.
No.
But I'm looking through my yellow notebook and there's that quote. And suddenly it's not funny anymore. Suddenly it's like, that's it. All they need to know, all I want to tell you is you are enough. So I would write back, and Oprah is the one, I think, of course, who said that people just want to be heard. They just want their stories to be heard. So I have that in my head too. They just want to know they were heard. So allow me to write back, write your name so that it's specific to you. You are enough. Love, Sierra. And that's how I would start handling that kind of stuff. And then it grew and grew, and I was like, this is bigger than anything. It's this You Are Enough movement. It's bigger than just this quote on a page. It's more even than people who are just in my industry. It's for everyone. It's for everyone.
Yeah.
And so now specifically when I'm teaching masterclass, I'm sure that I talk about you are enough, because people do need to know that, because we do question ourselves in my industry, in every industry, but in my industry, when we go in and we audition, the first thing we think is, I'm not good enough. I'm not enough. You know, who am I to, like I thought in my head, who am I to be here? Who are you not to be here? You are enough.
And that is, I love that. And I said it's something definitely going to keep to myself as well, because it's so amazing. It's so powerful. You are enough. Stop doubting yourself. Stop questioning yourself. You are definitely enough. Sierra, I have some few questions I'm just going to pop into, because you are very good at answering questions shortly.
Okay.
How do you deal with doubt?
Oof. Doubt is learned behavior, isn't it? It's not something that we're born with. I don't think. I'm careful these days to talk in absolutes, but you know.
No.
But I believe that doubt is learned behavior, because when we're babies and we're just, and then suddenly doubt comes in because we hit our head on something, and it's like, wait, now I'm worried. So it's learned behavior, and then you sort of have to figure out how to
get yourself.
Yes. So how I deal with doubt is, I know it's there, so I'm not scared of it. It's just, oh, hey, what's up, doubt? What do you got to teach me? We're still gonna do this. We're still gonna be brave, but come on along.
Okay. What when you get the question, am I good enough? What if someone else is better than me? How do you tackle that mindset? Because I'm putting you in a position of, you do this all the time. So a younger artist is going through these challenges in her mind. What would you tell her?
Well, first of all, I like to tell young artists that this business is not a competition, contrary to what we have been taught and what other people may perceive. Nobody is winning a role, winning a show, and you're not losing a show or losing a role. You aren't now a loser. So there's so many things that have to occur for us to get the job. And most of the time, if you are prepared and you did everything you're supposed to do, it has nothing to do with you. So that's the first thing, is to not look at, they're better than me. They are more than I am. Now, that being said, I think it is so important to look at people that have done this longer and that have these skills that you may not have. But instead of looking at them and going, they're better, just let them do it. Be inspired by and want to do the work to achieve these skills as well, and to broaden your skills. So what if we start looking at the business and this life as this isn't someone else's success takes away from me. It's someone else's success is mine as well. And I also, we do this together. It's just, I would rather live in that world, even if it's wrong. I would rather live in that world.
I like that. Formula to success.
Amen.
What is your formula to success?
That's tough, because what is success, really?
That is true. What is success? Success could just be you by the beach and you're happy.
And then during this pandemic, isn't success just getting out of bed some days?
It is indeed.
So I guess I know what it is, Anne. I know what it is. The formula to success starts with gratitude. There are some days that, especially during this time, and especially in the month of February, it's a tough one. There are some days that it is so hard to want to get up because your purpose doesn't feel alive or aligned. And I know that gratitude is always the answer, even if I don't feel like it. And it's just like, I will do this. I promise you, everyone listening. I will lay in my bed and I will go and I will be, not wanting to get up or something, and go, I am grateful for you, lungs. I am grateful for you, heart, feel heart. I'm grateful for you, stomach. I'm grateful for you, intestines. I'm grateful for you, hands. I'm grateful for, and just start with the basics, because these guys, everything inside showed up for its job. So if it's showing up, then allow me to be of service somewhere. And that may just be rising and shining.
I love that. If it's showing up, if everything is working well, then allow me to be of service somewhere.
That's
That
what's
is,
up.
that is
That's it. And it's like, may we just simplify it sometimes. So the formula to success is simplify, get into the gratitude, and rise and shine.
That is so beautiful way of looking at it. And I think the more people look at life, when they start looking at life that way, they will find more meaning in life. They will find more meaning, and the mental health problems will start going away, because mental health starts from your lack of gratitude. When you start worrying too much about what if, what about tomorrow, what can I do? Sometimes these things are just not within our control, and there's nothing we could do about it. But what we can do about is that we are healthy, we are alive, and we are breathing. The
Oh,
next is history.
yes, yes to all of
This
that.
is what I keep, and I'm so glad hearing it from you, especially. You are someone who comes from the theater background, and whose job is such not, you're not the doctors who is consistent. You guys have to always go out there and hunt. It's almost like the hunter, the fisherman. You have to always go out there to look for the next thing. And once you find it, you're also thinking about what the next thing, what about the next 12 months? You guys are constantly on the go. But throughout this thing, the only way to keep you sane when things like this is going on is to find that gratitude. And I love that you said that. Thank you so much for using those words, because it's so important. With the pandemic, how have you managed to, within yourself and your friends, how have you guys just managed to keep the excitement of the theater going?
Yeah. I have to allow myself the times where I did feel very low, and I felt just like, and you feel hopeless. There have been times where I felt hopeless, and you just don't see how the industry can come back. I'm living in New York. I walk into Times Square and it's dark. There's no theater. And it's the lifeblood, it's the heartbeat of New York, and it's not there. But I've got to believe that there's this, I think there's a beautiful quote from Wayne Dyer that I've always loved, which is, you are not what you do, you are not what you have, and you are not what other people think of you.
Wow.
Because if you are those things, then when you don't do, then who are you?
Mm.
So we have all been hit with that in this time, which is, so I'm not doing, so who am I? And what you realize is that you are, even if I'm not performing, I say this when I'm teaching. I see a Zoom class of kids now that show up and want to hear what I have to say. And I start with, right now, there is no Broadway, there is no West End, there are no tours, there are no school shows, there is no place to perform and do what we do, live performing. And yet, you all have still shown up to get the information and do the work. So that tells me that there is something within the artist spirit that, even when it feels like there is no hope and there is nowhere to do it, we still show up and we will figure it out. So that, full circle, is how I have stayed on purpose, I guess. And I try not to, if I think about it too hard, if I meditate on it even, then don't. It's just not worth it right now, because there isn't the answer yet. And I don't think there's supposed to be. I think we are still supposed to be living in the question.
Yeah.
Don't you?
I think so. We are. It is a questionable world, and I think if you try too hard to search for the answer, you might find something you don't want to have, you don't want to hear. So
That's
at
right.
times like this, it's just best to embrace this moment that we are in, and no one knows why we are here, but we just have to embrace it and just try and learn and listen to what he's trying to teach us.
Ooh,
And that's
that's it.
where I
Yes.
really, that's my focus, is to really mold myself to listen and understand, and also to see what is around, what I could learn, what I could hear, what I could taste, that this thing is trying to teach us. Something that I probably have ignored for many, many years. It's probably time I should now sit back and listen and focus. Your
Yes.
music is truly amazing, Sierra. Um, I would love you to sing a little bit for me. Could you just think of, I don't know, somewhere over the rainbow, or you choose just a little bit. Let the world hear that beautiful voice of yours. And I'm sure very soon you'll be out here, probably in London, and performing in the West End again. And I will be the first out there to come watch you sing again.
You said it, and I mean, no better song right now than Somewhere Over the Rainbow, just based on what we've been talking about in this conversation. And I'm sitting here actually, and for everybody listening, we didn't plan this, but
No.
I'm sitting here. I pulled one of my light lessons to focus on, and it was gratitude practice. And there's a rainbow. So I'm sitting here looking at this while you're talking and you ask for Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Um,
So let me give a little
enjoy, guys.
somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true.
Oh my goodness, that is so amazing. Oh, I can't wait for you to come down to the West End of London.
Me
Oh, for
too.
basic. But like the song said, somewhere over the rainbow, who knows? This whole thing would just go away, and it would just go back to the way it was before.
I agree. And if we are doing what you're saying, which is to listen and to see and to learn, then it will go back to what it was in a way, but we will be much
Yes.
stronger, much brighter, and have, my wish is that we will have had time to sit with our integrity, and that
Yes.
when we come back, the integrity is just like the integrity bar is higher. That's what I really hope, so that in a way, yes, I want to go back, but we can only go forward. So what will that look like? It's got to be that each of us has sat long enough, has been with ourselves long enough to realize that we can't go backwards.
We could only go forward, and we could only take lessons with us in
That's
going
right.
forwards.
Yeah.
Wow, Sierra, thank you so much. I am truly honored in talking to you, because I learned so much about life, even myself, my own journey. And I'm sure anyone listening that will listen to this conversation will also learn a lot about how to show gratitude in everything you do. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you for this platform. Thank you for everything that you're doing. This is exquisite, and I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.